Cool. And we are live. Thank you so much that you've joined me here. I believe you're on a farm in Nanderberg, right?
That's the rumor, but it's not true. No, I actually have been doing a bit of farming.
Yeah.
Learned a lot of new skills, survival skills, driving tractors, planting, injecting sheep, all sorts of stuff. So keeping really busy here. But yeah, it's a good place to be. We're working hard, but enjoying it.
I can imagine, man. Not really like the glassing bay you used to, but I did see you're still shaping though on the farm. That's what confused me.
Yeah, managed to. Well, that was a problem at home. I actually had nowhere where I could work. I don't have a garage, so I managed to load up 6 blocks of polystyrene, and 6 lucky surfers will be getting their board shaped over this time. And when we get back, we'll get straight back into glassing. And yeah, those guys will hopefully not have lost too much time waiting over this lockdown period.
Yeah, man. I know one of the guys, Francois, is expecting a board from you, and he is frothing out to the max. It's a similar shape to what I'm riding.
Yeah, it's a very similar. It's almost identical to your board, just a bit more volume. He's a bit more muscly than you. You've got a bit scrawny after all your training. So yeah, more volume, but same concept, same style, same rocker, same everything. Yeah. And I've really enjoyed shaping it. Those shapes that takes a lot of time and effort. It's got a quite particular bottom shape with some charms on the edges towards the bottom deck rails. Okay. So it's a board that takes time to shape. So I've got time. So the extra effort that's going into it is well worth it. And let's hope it works in the water like yours does.
Yeah, well, I think I surfed it 5 times before we went into lockdown, and it was incredible, but I'm dying to get back. So apparently we got an announcement tonight from old Cyril, so we'll find out if we're free yet or not. But just back to his board though, or the board that you're shaping for us, with those flares and those chamfers, have you surfed a board like that yet underneath?
So I haven't actually tried those charms or chamfers on the bottom deck before. I'd love to try it. I was about to actually shape myself a board before lockdown. And then unfortunately I had to put my paying customers first, because that's where the money comes in. We're still got to pay rent and staff over this time. So my board's jumped right to the back of the queue. So once we get back to Durban and start getting the boards out again, I'll definitely shape it for myself and give it a go. But from what I've heard, I'm very interested to try it.
Yeah.
I must say that's one thing. Whenever there's something about a board where people ask and I don't know, I generally don't know because I haven't tried it. So there's a lot of aspects to a shape and a board that I haven't tried just so that I can give people the right answer. So I'm looking forward to trying that on my next board and seeing how it goes.
Yeah, I think that's it's a little bit unfair. You caught in a catch-22 because you have full access to incredible designs, ideas. I mean, you got Pablo riding for you, amazing other riders in the past. So you're all this access to cool ideas, but you got lists of clients that you have to get their boards ready for. So you can't really put all this into practice. Is what I'm saying.
Yeah. So basically, it's quite a place to be in because there's so many interesting things being thrown around when you speak to guys like Skulk or yourself or Pablo or Rory or Duran, Ryan Griffith. So many guys have got so much knowledge and ideas they want to try, and I obviously want to try everything. But unfortunately, I can't get a board every second week. I've got to wait my turn as well, and keep the business working as a business, making money. So yeah, I don't get to try new things very often, but that's why the surfers are the guinea pigs. So the top riders, they changing ideas continuously, changing design concepts, and every time they get a new board, the whole business progresses. So every time we find something that works and initiate it into our production or designs, everybody benefits, including the guy who's just started surfing for the first time. So it's quite an advantage to have such a massive database of top surfers around the world. And it is great. And I'll kind of wait around for months before I decide. I take a little bit of each person and what they've said about what the best part about their board is.
Yeah.
And after a year, I'll put all of that together and make myself a board. And then that will kind of be the the next best thing, kind of, which hopefully everyone wants to ride. So yeah, it's awesome to be able to tap into so much knowledge worldwide from top riders around the world.
Yeah, I think it's sick because I was just talking to Paul from Stott Waveski Surfing, and I was just comparing the differences between like South African wave skiing, or maybe Southern Hemisphere styles of wave skiing, versus like the Northern Hemisphere, especially the French. I feel like there's such a big difference in styles. So your board orders are going to kind of probably reflect that as well.
Definitely, yeah. So for example, I send a lot of boards to France, and there's very few guys that are surfing that exact French shape. And it's definitely the way the French guys ride, they can handle it. Whereas South Africa, we have a different style of surfing, and as a result, the boards are slightly different. So there's no French guys ordering South African style boards, and there's no South Africans ordering exactly French style boards. So each country kind of develops its own concept, and they seem to stick to it. There's a bit of cross-pollination, but I do find countries do have a particular style which kind of goes with the orders as well.
Yeah, man, I love that. I think it's such a cool, rich cultural thing as well, is that this is who we are and this is how we ride. I know with the surfing scene, when the Brazilians started to make an impact on this world circuit, a lot of, especially the Americans, were quite shocked at the different style, you know, Brazilian versus American, just surfing style. And I think it's such a unique thing. Do you find is there a bit of influence coming across at all?
Definitely. So that's the thing there's no harm in, for example, you trying a French style board or Pablo trying a South African style board. Sure. It's there's a lot of cross pollination across the countries.
Okay.
And we can try and take the best of each and combine them together and make something that works even better. So it is a cool thing to be part of. And there's no rules against who can order what. One of the things which is quite interesting as well is when I get a top rider and he makes a change, I will sometimes only put that change on his board, and I won't let it be known to any of the other riders, because that's like his competitive edge.
Sure.
And maybe after a season or two, like we'll say, like, is it okay if somebody else can have this on their board as well? And they'll say, sure, go for it. So then they'll start to, so sometimes the ideas that we put into top surfers' boards only coming out like a year or two later, because they need that competitive advantage for themselves to try and beat the guys they're competing against. It's such a competitive circuit out there. So we don't change things immediately for the general market. We take a bit of a while to flow it into the market, so that everyone gets to enjoy that advantage, that surfing advantage. But we do it eventually. It does kind of bleed out slowly.
Yeah, because I remember when I was, we're talking about my first board and how the boards have evolved since that first order to what I'm riding now, with the communication that's happening between you and I. And I love that progression. And I really hope a lot of the other riders out there can experience that as well, you know, as you are redefining your equipment and going better each step.
Yeah. So what happens when we shape a board? We take a whole lot of elements from boards that work, and we tweak them and we move things and we change things, and eventually get to a point where it takes so much time using so many different templates that you eventually design a new template, and that template is like the next step. So with you, for example, we've been using other templates and bringing the best elements of those, but now you have your own template. So now that's becoming your style, and then that style will totally different direction to what it's come from. So that's the great thing about progression and being able to try a board, make changes, and move forward. And the big thing is to keep progressing, keep improving, and making a better shape which is more suited to your style, which is great. And that's why eventually each top rider has his own style board and own template which is unique to him. And then one thing that I do with that is I say to a guy when he orders a board, who do you want to surf like? And then it's easy for me if they say, I want to surf like Pablo or Bruce or Mike. And then I just take those guys' templates and I start their board off with that top guy's template. So it's quite a cool thing. They can have a part of any top rider's board that they see out there and try and emulate the way that those guys surf. So it's quite a cool thing to do.
Yes, it's It's magic, man. I get so excited. I jumped on one of my mate's boards the other day. Yesterday, it's lockdown. Don't worry, everyone, calm down. I jumped on just before lockdown. Digby Crouch, who lives up the road, and the old Macski. I think it was shaped by Viaene. So it's from a few years back, and a square tail. I hate square tails. I'll put that out there. And I just had fun because it had a different feeling to it. And I think you've told me this, Ian has told me this, like when you're getting a board, just try have no expectations. And that's what you get when you're jumping on a mate's board is you're jumping on, it feels different, it's no expectations, and you end up having quite a bit of fun. So
Yeah.
I enjoy that.
Yeah.
How long have you been shaping for?
Okay, so I started shaping, what are we in now? 2020. I've been shaping, this is my 7th year. I've been shaping for. Yeah, so it's time has gone quickly. So I've got a few hundred boards under the belt.
Yeah.
And every board, I just feel you get better and better. You get a better feel for the flow of the board, the flow of the water. And you'll know even from your last board I made you, like we didn't really make too many changes from the time before, but I just said, Bruce, this one it's just better.
Yeah.
It's better because I'm better. It's flowing better. The edges, everything's the way it's meant to be. It's crisp. It's a crisp finish.
Yeah.
So that progression in my shaping is definitely coming on in leaps and bounds, which I'm quite enjoying. And I suppose, it's just time in the game. The more you do it, the better you get. Funnily enough, when I first started in 2014, I'd say probably 100% of my boards were CNC shaped, which is quite interesting. I hadn't quite picked up the shaping, and then slowly, bit by bit, I would sneak a hand shaped in, and then a hand shaped in for a guy who was kind of intermediate and wasn't that important. And then I just got more confident with the hand shaping over time and the way things work, that now I'm on to 100% hand shaping, and I just love hand shaping. I love taking a block, taking the templates, and just going from a block to this amazing looking board, which, without sounding arrogant in any way, I love, and I know that when guys get on that board, it's going to perform because everything I've done is tried and tested and it's going to work. So I love that about shaping, and I love looking at it and deciding and just feeling and figuring out what's best for that board and for that rider. And that's what also makes custom great. And yes, I will probably get back into CNC a bit more. Every now and again, I'll sneak out a CNC board, but I love the intimacy of shaping a board and just how you can really get into it and just on a deeper level. But yeah, CNC is another thing. You can get in with flow dynamics and water hydraulics and all sorts of things to get the benefits of CNC. So I will definitely get into that again. We're looking at a few projects at the moment, working closely with Duran Martin, who's a bit of a rocket scientist, no pun intended.
Yeah.
And we've got some good ideas going on the CNC and how to design boards and how to test them in like sort of flow chambers and things. So that's going to be exciting. But for the moment, really enjoying the hand shaping. It's great. I love it.
Yeah, I think it's like what you touched on there. It's intimate, and you've gone like then in a bit of reverse. Generally, you have your shapers going from hand shaping to CNC, and you went kind of the opposite way. And I think that's amazing. I think that's what we need. I've ridden some straight out of CNC kind of boards, and they were horrendous. But where the guys are doing CNC and hand shaping, mixing it together, of course, I mean that's what you've done, or what you can be doing. But you've got your history of hand shaping now, and I love it. I love that my board is hand shaped.
Yeah. So what I found, Bruce, is that with hand shaping, you get a real deep understanding of how the board works and how the aspects of the board tie together. Whereas in the beginning, when I was only CNC shaping, like it was just a board. It's like an outline, and this is it. And you make it longer, you make it shorter, you make it narrower, you make it wider, you add more volume, you tweak the tail. And those are just changes that are happening to also suit the rider. But when you start hand shaping, you're getting in so much deeper. It becomes so much more technical. And I think if you're able to take that hand shaping knowledge across to CNC, you'll have a much deeper understanding of how the process of shaping a board through in CNC works as well. So those are kind of ideas that we are working on with Duran. And and I'm hoping it will stand me in good stead once we get onto CNC again. But another reason is to move across to CNC is for volumes. It's very difficult to keep up with the orders and the volumes. People have to wait substantial amounts of time for a new board because a custom board takes time. So once we move across to CNC, a lot more CNC, we will definitely be able to push out more boards. But a big thing with us is we want to keep our quality up. So we don't want to be a factory. We're just pumping out board after board after board, and then we lose quality. So every board is made with love, with care, and with passion. And as a result, we want to make sure that every board is coming out at the quality levels that I want it to be at.
Yeah, I'm sure. But I'm not too sure how it is with other guys who order, but I know when I've ordered a board through you, I get like a continual little video and photo updates. And I start building my bond with this board, like way back before. When it arrives, I'm like, yeah, I know you already, you know. So that love is there, and that's through the hand shaping and working with you guys. But with the board progression, what would you say in your last 7 years has been the biggest jump? Has it been a tail, a rocker, the flares and the rails? What has something that has really progressed?
Yeah, so with any board, I think you can make any board a great board by just putting the correct aspects on that board, whether it's rocker or tail shape or hard rails at the tail or fin position, fin shape, fin size, fin angle. There's so many things. But I think there's a board for every kind of condition and every style of surfing. So one thing that I've really enjoyed the progression is working with Pablo and trying to design faster boards that aren't just for your standard size waves boards for waves which are bigger and faster. We need more speed where it's critical to make the section. So seeing how much speed we can get out of a board, that's been quite awesome. And as a result, the profiles have changed slightly. And then being able to take that fast board and then adjust it, slow it down maybe so a guy can turn better. But the extra speed for higher aerials, I think, is something I've really enjoyed working with and seeing the guys just go fast on the wave. So I'd say speed is probably the biggest progression that I've noticed in the last few years. And then trying to harness that speed, basically just get control of it. Because if you're too fast, it's harder to do a lot of things, but of course your errors are higher. So just trying to find that optimum. So tone it down a bit and get it into a more user-friendly board. But speed is definitely the biggest advantage I've seen over the last few years.
It's incredible. I mean, you've got many of your South African riders all surfing kind of similar waves, and then you have the freak Pablo, who is not just dropping into like 8-foot Uluwatu, but is surfing 12-foot Sunset, and then goes back home and surfs beach breaks. I mean, what a pleasure for you to work with.
No, it's great. And with Pablo, we have his beach break boards, we have his Hawaii boards, and he's got a gun as well for the even bigger stuff. The thing with a gun, you want to get the weight really up so it doesn't bounce on the wave. So we're getting up to we want to try and get it to 12, 15 kilos so it doesn't bounce. And then you're working with stringers, which are really strong, and we're using bamboo stringers. And we're ready. We're moving on to the next gun now. We're going to go longer, which for a wave ski is kind of unknown territory. But Pablo wants to go longer. He wants to go bigger. He wants to go more crazy. So it's great to work with guys who are so diverse. And all our top riders, even locally, are that diverse, but maybe just don't have the quiver of boards yet. But over time, that quiver builds up, and you can select the board for the conditions that best suit that day, which is a great thing to be able to do.
Yeah, I think someone like Mike Vessels, who did you see he just ran 160 Ks?
Crazy, Mike. It's unbelievable. For a pretty much non-runner, we know anyone a half marathon's a big thing. A marathon's even huger, even more huge. And I go 4 times a marathon. That's what Mike's just done over the weekend. So that's off to that guy. He's tough in life.
Absolutely mental. And then I look at the waves he's surfing. When you're looking at something like Ladudno, or I don't even want to start naming some of those spots. I know Cape Townians are a bit nervous. but like the stuff that he's charging, I mean, how do his boards not just break as like quickly as they should?
Yeah, so you basically get a standard construction board, and then you get a stronger board. And to go stronger, you just put an extra layer on the top. So say, just hypothetically, you've got 2 layers on the top, you'll put 3 layers on the top. So a guy like Mike, he's surfing that 3rd layer on the top, which adds a bit of weight, but it's not a lot of weight. Pablo's Hawaii board, same thing, 3 layers on the top with the channels for a bit of strength. When you're going bigger, then you start going 4 layers plus the bamboo stringers. So the bigger you go, the stronger you go. Okay. But Mike's board is basically, just to talk in layers, a normal board being 2 layers on top, his board's 3 layers on top. But he's also a bit of a beast. He's like 95, 100 kilos. So there's a lot of momentum when he takes a beating. But also there's a lot to say on how you wipe out. You get better at wiping out. You know what position to put your body in. And I must say, when I started waveski surfing back in the day, I broke my boards quite often by just being in the wrong place at the wrong time. But a guy like Mike, he's got a lot of experience, and I think that'll also help him keep his boards in one piece. But there have been moments where Mike sent some photos of his board being thrashed up into the rocks and being jammed and wedged in between rocks. And that board's still going. So, it does help to have a bit of extra glass on a board, adds a bit of weight. But a strong board can last a lot longer than just a standard construction board.
Cool. Yeah, I mean, it's so unique. And then you start looking at guys who are riding with Kevlar. You have full Kevlar, not Kevlar, carbon. You have full carbon boards out. And it's incredible the direction of all these different materials.
So carbon fiber, it brings a whole other element into surfing. Everyone knows, like with mountain biking and that kind of thing, a carbon fiber frame is a lot lighter, it's a lot stronger, but it doesn't take an impact well. Okay. So carbon fiber, you can get a really nice, rigid, light wave ski, but when you start bashing it around with your paddles or knocking on rocks, it can crack. And also, a lot of the top guys, they prefer a bit of flex in their boards. It kind of moves with the wave a bit better. It gives you a bit more drive potentially. But a rigid board, it's a totally different feeling. I think if there were top guys who decided to head for full carbon, Viaene Estes is one of them. He's surfing really well on his full carbon board. Donnie Nell also been around for many years, full carbon. So there are a few guys who have been in the game for a really long time and surf well and have opted for the full carbon board. So there is some merit in it. But it's definitely a different feeling, which you need to get used to. But the advantages in weight are pretty massive. To have a full carbon wave ski, the weight advantages, to flick it around and just to carry it are pretty awesome. So it's worth considering, but it's a different feeling. It's more rigid. It can be more brittle. It can be susceptible to breaking instead of flexing. But there's a lot of guys out there who are riding full carbon boards very, very successfully. Francois Steyn is another one. So it does work. You just got to do it in the right way, I suppose.
But then, so you've worked with carbon. What was super interesting for me to see was the bamboo that you were working with. Like, what's the thought behind all that?
So I've got quite a big bamboo background, being involved with bamboo warehouse for the last 11 years or so. So I had access to a lot of different types of bamboo. I started putting bamboo stringers in the guns, which obviously adds a lot of weight, but it adds a massive amount of strength. The most bamboo we put in a gun was 15 mils, so that's really thick. And then kind of gone down to around about 10 mils seems to be enough as well. But what we started playing around with is bamboo veneers on the bottom deck, and replacing, say, carbon fiber and using bamboo veneers, which looks really cool. It brings a lot of strength. It's also quite light. But one issue that we had is if you get a little ding on the board, and which often happens with a wave ski, and it sucks water, that bamboo it discolors with the water, so it goes like a horrible little black color, which isn't great. So I prefer not to use the bamboo, but it does look awesome, and if you can keep your board fresh with no dings, it's an awesome thing. But most of us ride pretty hard, and we're due to get a ding every now and again, so it's not really worth putting bamboo in a top rider's board, unfortunately, even though it looks really, really awesome.
Yeah, I would love it, but there's no chance. like I said, I've ridden this new board 5 times and it's already got a little chip in the rail, which I won't talk to you about. But that's surfing reef, point breaks, and slipping, sliding, trying to come out. But paddles are all carbon. I guess that's with the stiffness. I mean, you know paddles a bit better than me. What's the thought? Why are we going carbon on paddles?
A paddle, just from talking from a kayaking and paddling background, if you've got a glass blade or glass shaft, there's a bit of flex in the shaft and the blade, so you're losing power output basically. So if you've got a carbon shaft and a carbon blade, there's no flex, which means every single ounce of effort that you put into the stroke is transferred into the water, which transfers into your boat moving forward or your wave ski moving forward. So more efficiency with the rigidity of a carbon blade and carbon shaft, as opposed to fiberglass. But not to say you can't surf with a fiberglass paddle. It's just a slightly different feeling. With wave skiing, it's not about who gets to backline first. It's about getting to backline. So if you lose maybe say 2% in your stroke with a fiberglass shaft, fiberglass paddle, it's not the end of the world. But I think a lot of the guys lack that responsiveness. You put the blade in the water and you feel it. And that's why most of the top guys are surfing with carbon these days, as well as the light. The carbon brings in the lightness, which we spoke about on the wave skis, which is quite nice to have a nice light paddle. It's also makes it feels like it's easier, which it is.
Yeah, man. But when it comes to paddles, no offense, I don't take much advice from you. Wave skis, give it. I mean, you tell us about your paddle, because I'm going to upload a photo right now of your paddle.
Yeah, so I've been paddling with a canoe racing wing paddle my whole life. So what is that? It's say 28 years I've been using a wing paddle. And then when I moved across to wave ski, it's just made sense because I didn't have a flat blade. So let me stick with the wing paddle. And I was using a long river paddle, which was a bit awkward, but it was all I had, and I keep using it. And then I thought, no, man, I've got to progress. I bought myself a flat blade from Leisner Racing, and I started using it, and I was just absolutely useless. I was falling over. I was missing my rolls. Every time I paddled for wave, I'd fall over. I just couldn't get the catch in the water that I'm used to. So I thought, no, let me keep trying. So I pushed through for another week or two. And eventually I was like, no, this is pointless. No. So I sold it and I went back to my wing paddles. But one thing I have done is I've shortened. So where I used to use, like, say, a 215 centimeter tip to tip paddle, I've now gone down to 190, 185. So it's much shorter. So it's closer to what the wave ski guys are using. But I just cannot paddle with that flat blade. I'm just all over the place and I look like an absolute hacker. I wouldn't advise for wave ski surfing. There are definitely advantages to having a flat blade, but if you were forcing me to paddle with a flat blade, I'd probably change to stand-up surfing. I just can't.
That would be terrible.
That you guys are using, but everyone should be using a flat blade. It's the right thing to be doing. All the kayakers using paddle, the slalom paddlers, flat blade paddle. It's the right thing to be doing for what we're doing. So don't be like ants. Be like everybody else, and please use a flat blade in the wave ski. Unless you've been paddling for 20, 30 years and it's all you know, the wing paddle, then I'd say maybe stick with it. But for the new guys or guys who only know wave ski, flat blade is definitely the way to go.
Yeah. I think even, like, I think you said 192 is your length, or 197. That's still very long. It's flipping long, actually. I'm personally on 185, and I could even drop a few millimeters as well. But like with your transition, you're a world-class paddler, whether it's in the sprints, rivers, marathons. How did you get into wave skiing? I mean, it's paddling, but it's a bit far off, dropping down Island 2 at Dusi.
Yeah, so basically, in a funny way, I kind of started wave skiing and paddling at the same time. When I went to Maritzburg College in 1991, they offered canoeing as a sport, and that's where I started paddling. And at the end of that 91 year, my folks moved back down to Tween near Port Shepstone, which is at the beach. And my dad had an auction mart, and he picked up 2 or 3 paddle skis at like $50 a shot on the auction and brought them home. So we would, in the holidays, we would go on these wave skis literally all day, every day. but our beach was quite hectic, and we had like a reef, and we never went beyond the reef, so we only caught the foamies. So we caught foamies all day, every day, and then when we went back to school, we would jump on our canoe and keep paddling. So on those Waveskis that we started on, we didn't have skegs, we didn't have seat belts, we just had foot straps. So it was very basic, but we still loved it, and we had a lot of fun on those Waveskis. And then the first time I saw a proper Waveski, I was actually up in Johannesburg. It was at Robbie Herafeld's canoe shop up in Johannesburg. And I walked in there, and I think I was about 19 or 20 years old, and I just fell in love with this off-the-shelf Macski, which I saw. It was a pop-out board, foam-filled, and I just fell in love with it. I was like, I want that thing.
And it was a
and
Macski.
I bought it. It was a Macski, yeah. And
Wow.
I took it home, and I knew nothing about Waveski surfing. So all I knew is I was nervous of the seatbelts. So I went for my first paddle. I was actually down in Port Elizabeth for Christmas. And I'd taken this thing the whole way down there. And I thought, no, I'm going to get into this now. And I didn't use the seatbelt. I didn't have any wax. I didn't have any seat pad. So every little foamy that came past knocked me off, and my feet were stuck in straps every time. So I tried for about an hour or two. I got so frustrated. And I put it away for 10 years in the garage. I didn't touch it. And I lived at the beach at one stage in Durban for about 5 or 6 years on the beach. And I was only stand-up surfing. I wasn't wave skiing at all.
Oh.
And then when I stopped my professional paddling, I think it was beginning of 2012, I thought, no, let me try this wave ski again. I'm really keen. Let me try it. And I actually called Neil Stevenson because I got to know him through paddling, and I knew he was like an SA champ wave skier. And I said, Neil, I've got this wave ski. I think it's too small for me. I want to sell it and buy a bigger one. He's like, what? No, man, that thing's the right size. You can get taller than that if you want. What am I doing wrong? And then we got chatting, and he realized I wasn't using the belt, and I didn't have something to stop my bum slipping off the seat. So the first thing I did is I got a seat pad, I stuck it on, and I started using the belt. And immediately I could paddle the thing without falling off, paddle out through the surf. And I fell in love with it immediately. And I was in Durban, and I was going out in town between the piers, catching little waves, and I just had the most fun ever. And because I'd stopped competitive paddling, I was used to training every day. So I would go down every day no matter what, whether the east was blowing, every day after work, west, whatever it was, I'd go and surf. So as a result of going out in all conditions every day, my progression was quite fast. Because at that stage, the top guys in Durban at the time, they were only surfing weekends or every second weekend. So by surfing every single day, I caught up quite quickly, which was quite nice. And then in 2013, the SA Champs was in Durban, and I came and watched. And that's when I ordered my first custom board from Viaene. And I saw all these custom boards. I was like, no ways, this is amazing. I've got to try a custom board. And I felt the weight of my board, and I felt the custom. Then I was like, no ways, this is next level. And I got my first custom from Viaene. And then 2014, the Worlds were in Durban, which was also on our doorstep. So I ordered my second custom already, upgraded the shape a bit. And I just loved it. And since then, I've just never stopped. So I've been 2014, 2016, 2018 Worlds. And yeah, quite a few SA Waveski surfing titles, competitions I've been to as well. And I just love it. I can't get enough of it. So I always look forward to getting back in the water. And once this lockdown's over, 100%, I'm going to be on my wave ski as often as I can.
Yeah, man. I mean, you're such an asset to the sport, and very privileged. Wave skiing international is privileged to have someone like you, man. But I love like the progression. Did you find like your balance was pretty easy from the canoe to the wave ski?
No, not at all. So I really struggled with balance in the beginning. So at the time I bought my wave ski, I was probably weighing around 73 kilos. And I bought off the shelf a 75 kilo wave ski capacity, and I couldn't balance it. But the biggest problem is that I was sliding off the seat and I wasn't using the belt. So as soon as I started doing that, it did help, but I still did struggle a bit with stability. But I must say, one thing I noticed is every year I'm able to paddle a smaller and smaller board. Sure. So I know my paddling friends, even though they've been paddling the narrowest, fastest racing boats there are available, when they get on a wave ski, it's just a different feeling. A wave ski is a feeling you have to get used to. So sometimes you've got to push through, but it's a fine line. You've got to be so careful with with what a person is capable of. You never want to push them beyond what they're capable of. Yes, we need to push ourselves and push through and get comfortable and stable on the boards. But as soon as you get to a point where you can't get stable and you can't paddle out and you fall over every time you paddle for a wave, it's pointless, because the whole fun side of wave ski is gone. Yeah. So it's far better to get a more stable board, a bulkier, chunkier board than you should, and get into it and then slowly progress, rather than move on to something which is too hard for you to handle. Because just like, you don't want to be like ants. 10 years in the garage, didn't touch my wave ski. So get a board that's more stable than you need, and then slowly progress. Don't jump to a high performance board too early on, because that's all it's going to do is you're going to lose the love. Paddling becomes a mission, surfing becomes a mission. You can't get out to the back line, and it's all about surfing at the end of the day. So make sure you get a board that you can at least paddle out to back line and get onto the wave, rather than it's a funny saying in canoeing. One of my sponsors, Owen Hemingway from Pope's Canoe Center, always said everyone wanted the fastest boat, riverboat, and he always said it's way faster paddling a slow boat down a river than swimming next to a fast boat. So it's the same with the wave ski. Rather paddle a more stable wave ski, get out there, catch the waves, than be that guy who's got the fast, twitchy wave ski who actually can't even get out there to catch the waves. So always take it down a notch, I think, and then work your way up. I'd say that's probably the best advice I could give you, after I was one who suffered through not having the right advice in the early days.
Yeah, man, I couldn't agree more. I think stability over speed any day. And you look at like maybe the Groms coming through and they're seeing these tiny, small boards that, like, I'm just looking at what Virgil rides. I don't think Virgil's board would float my left leg. It's these such tight little boards, and you got these Groms wanting to jump on them and then actually like getting into trouble, just in danger, or turning away from the sport, or just slow progression because they're on this tiny little toothpick. And that can hinder you.
Yeah, it's. I think progression is definitely the way. I think Pablo's also, his last board was a 565, so 56.5. I see Nathan Eads in Peru is also just shaped a 56.5. So, but you've got to be able to handle it. I agree with you. You don't want to go too narrow too soon, because you just ruin the love. It's just not worth it.
Yeah, I tried to go a bit narrow recently, and I didn't really enjoy it. So, like, I'm happy with my 59. I tried a 58.5, and like I said, Virgil and those really thin guys, go for it. Us a bit chunkier in South Africa, we need the width.
And I think a big realization for me about going narrow and narrow the whole time was when we went to World Waveski Surfing titles in Portugal in 2016. And I injured my knee quite badly at the time, and I was struggling on my board. I'd torn the cartilage, and so any little stability or stabilizing would really tweak my knee. And I jumped on Ian Mack's board, which was at the time was a 64, so 640 mils.
Yeah.
And I jumped on his board for the one heat, and I ripped, and I think I was first or second in the heat and went through to the next round. I was like, what are we doing? Why are we surfing these narrow boards when we could be surfing something big and stable and like this? So one thing a big board gives you is confidence as well. You can pull off moves, land moves. But yeah, every guy for himself. Obviously, the narrow boards are easier to get onto the rail, but the bigger, more stable boards definitely give you more confidence with your moves and landing your moves. So there's a bit in each one, and I think everyone just needs to decide for themselves what's best. But there's no harm in going bigger and wider and more stable. It gives you more confidence out there in the sea and the waves, definitely.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we've just gone wide. We actually put depth on my latest board in anticipation for World Champs in Peru, and you just want to be comfortable out there. And yeah, it's a big bummer about World Champs, but hopefully it all goes ahead for next year. Are you planning on going?
Definitely, yes. I booked my flights this year. I was on my way. I was keen to get I'll just have to try and transfer those flights, and hopefully we can postpone them to next year and still go. Yeah. But yeah, I'm amped to go to Peru. It's going to be awesome. Point break, shape a nice paddler friendly board. We know it's a long paddle over in Peru, and that's why we gave you the volume to make it a bit more easy to paddle. And I'll probably do a similar thing for myself: slightly longer tail, more volume, easy to paddle, and all the things we've spoken about. What makes it fun? You don't want to be on this tiny little thing where it takes you 5 minutes just to paddle to the back, when you could get there in 2 minutes on a slightly bigger board.
Yeah, you killed yourself on the way there. And so, like with World Champs, and just to wrap this up, I think we're nearly on 30 minutes or so, and I don't want to keep you from the farm life. But what's between now and World Champs? What's happening in the world of Macski? Have you got any cool projects you're working on?
Yeah, so as competitions wise, we don't know what's possible at the moment. We don't know when our next contest will be, but as soon as we're able to hold a contest, we definitely will. We might have to change the way we do contests. Who knows? Maybe we'll only be able to have like 10 guys at a contest at a time. We just don't know what the future holds.
Yeah.
So we're just going to have to play that by ear, see how it goes. But traveling's also becoming tricky. So we don't know if, like Pablo, for example, he was in Hawaii. He was going back to France for a bit. Then he was heading to Bali or Indo for a while, and then he was heading to Peru. So all those surf trips and surf movies that he was going to make are going to be on hold. So I think we're going to see a lot more, I don't want to call them homemade videos, but a lot more guys making videos of themselves surfing, putting those on the nets if we can't get to contests. So a lot more content, hopefully just on their home breaks, spreading a lot of that. But contest-wise, we just have no idea what we're in for. As far as the factory goes, I look forward to getting back there. I look forward to my staff coming back. I look forward to getting the production going again. We've got a lot of boards to make. We've got a lot of orders, a lot of people waiting patiently, which we're thankful for. And what's also been great is just seeing the community guys say, I know it's a tough time. If I order a board now, is it going to help you? So it's guys starting to order boards, even if they don't really need one, just to help the industry, help it keep going. So that's been great as well to see that kind of thing. But we're very fortunate in the fact that we do have a lot of orders on the books, a lot of deposits paid, and a lot of boards to make. So looking forward to getting stuck in and getting through the boards and just getting them out there, getting guys back in the water, in the waves, and having a good time out there in the sea again. That's the main objective, is to actually just enjoy what's happening out there, whether it's on your own or with a group, whatever it is. I think every single wave skier just wants to get on his board in the waves and catch waves. Whether someone's watching, whether there's a camera recording, doesn't really matter. They just want to get out there and enjoy that feeling, which we love so much. That's
it, man. It's such weird times, and I'm just thankful that you also just taken out with your time to chat about this, man. And I just, really hope we can get out there soon, like you say, and get in the water. I think just being submerged again. I don't care if it's a 10-foot or 2-foot wave that's about to pound me on my head. I just want to feel it, And so hopefully we are back out there, and that the Waveski family is together again. I miss the guys. I'm looking forward to seeing Gus, Nathan, and the rest of the crew from all over the world. And here we are in my bedroom, you on the farm, and that's how it is. But dude, thank you.
I must have enjoyed the tractor and the planting and the irrigating and stuff, but I'm missing my factory, man. I want to get back there and just get guys onto boards. That's what it's all about. Spread the happiness.
Yeah, man. Well, I'm actually going to look at my boards now. I'm so excited just chatting to you. So, and Stott for your time, bro. I really do appreciate it. And looking forward to seeing you when you're back home in Durbs. Come up, have a surf, and catch up, brother. But thank you.
Looking forward to it. Stott, Bruce. Stott.